Again, here's Curry for the record. It's good! And there it is! Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king in the NBA.
Most people remember this moment as the night Steph Curry passed Ray Allen to become the NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers. But it's more than that. It was proof that basketball had entered an entirely different era, one that Curry himself created.
And he changed the complete, not even just the NBA, the way basketball is played, period now.
Becoming the first player in league history to reach 4,000 career threes was only one part of the story. Because when you look at everything Curry has accomplished, from becoming the NBA's only unanimous MVP to redefining what a point guard can be, you realize that this isn't just the career of an all-time great. It's the career of a player who has done what no point guard in NBA history ever has. Let me explain. First of all, nothing captures what Steph Curry is when it comes to shooting the ball like this James Harden quote.
You're 34 three-pointers away from being number 2 all-time in three-pointers made. It's Steph Curry and you.
Listen here, I'm going to consider myself number 1. Steph don't count.
That's to show you that Harden believes that Curry is in a league of his own, because every time someone thinks they've reached the limit of what's possible from beyond the arc, Curry moves the line even farther away. That journey reached one of its defining moments on December 14th, 2021, inside Madison Square Garden.
Remember, Curry went to thrive. Oh, and there it is, right away. He has tied Ray Allen.
Ray Allen retired as the greatest shooter the game had ever seen. But for some reason, he never got hot enough to convince everybody to try it. Then Steph Curry arrived and took the three-point shot to levels we never thought was possible.
Wiggins again. Here's Curry for the record. It's good! And there it is! Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king in the NBA.
That moment felt bigger than a single shot. Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, the two greatest shooters before Curry, were both sitting courtside, watching history unfold. But what made the record truly unbelievable wasn't just that Curry broke it, it was how he broke it. You see, Ray Allen needed 1,300 games to make 2,973 threes. Curry passed him in just 789 games. That's 511 fewer games, despite having an injury-riddled start to his NBA career. And once he became number 1, he never looked back. In March of 2025, Curry became the first player in NBA history to reach 4,000 career three-pointers. Today, that total has climbed to over 4,248, while even the closest active player, James Harden, still trails by hundreds of made threes. And somehow, those career totals might not even be the most impressive part. You see, back in 2013, breaking Ray Allen's single-season record with 272 made threes seemed extraordinary. But just a couple of years later, Curry broke his own record with 286. Then, during the 2015-16 season, he produced another NBA record with 402 made three-pointers. And you can only understand how crazy that record is when you realize that only a handful of players have ever come within striking distance of 300. In fact, there have only been around 10 303 seasons in NBA history, and Curry alone owns 6 of them. The message in those numbers is that Steph is responsible for well over half of the greatest long-range shooting seasons basketball has ever seen. Now, Curry also owns the record for the most playoff three-pointers in NBA history with 650, and he's followed by Klay Thompson with 501, then LeBron James with 497. Add in 8 seasons leading the league in made threes on the way to 4 titles, and you can see how Steph Curry changed the geometry of the game. And with the way he did it, it's really no surprise how he managed something not even Michael Jordan could do. There will probably never come a day when the whole world will agree on who basketball's GOAT is. And that's the nature of such titles and awards. They always come with arguments. Some fans think the wrong player won. Others point to better statistics, team records, or playoff success. During Michael Jordan's peak MVP season, there were voters who weren't convinced he deserved it the most. The same with LeBron, Kobe, and Shaq. These guys all won MVP, but none of them won every single vote. Every superstar who's ever been the MVP in the NBA has lost at least a vote. Except Steph Curry. The 2015-16 season was one of the greatest offensive seasons basketball has ever witnessed.
Forgot the ball, Russ Smith. Good effort. Banged into Curry again, and he banked it in! From half court, it's gone! He banks it in!
That 45-degree cut.
A double Steph. His brother nearly knocks it away. He shoots over him and makes it!
So he can beat his man a little easier, and then he'll just be able to finish.
Oh, poor Ilyasova. 5 minutes remaining. Curry again for three. Bang!
Night after night, Curry made impossible shots start to feel routine. By the end of the season, the numbers looked almost fictional. He averaged 30.1 points, 6.7 assists, 5.4 rebounds, and led the league in steals while shooting 50.4% from the field, 45.4% from three, and 90.8% from the free throw line. His 66.9 true shooting percentage was almost unheard of for someone carrying that kind of offensive responsibility. And while Curry was rewriting the record books individually, the Warriors were doing the same as a team. Golden State finished 73-9, the best regular season record in NBA history.
Steph knocked it away at 2 and 1. Curry deep three. Good! Steph back three. He backed it in from the side. 5 minutes remaining. Curry again for three. Bang!
Normally, a season like that still sparks debate, but this wasn't normal. So, when MVP voting was announced, Curry received all 131 first-place votes, becoming the first and still only unanimous MVP in NBA history. And to think that 2016 was quite a divisive year in America when people couldn't agree on anything. And yet, Steph put on a show for a whole season that every single voter looked at the entire league and reached exactly the same conclusion. He was the best. However, as historic as that achievement was, it still wasn't enough to define his legacy. Because when you combine that peak with everything that followed, that's when his resume becomes something no point guard has ever matched. It's important to understand that before Steph, the NBA had the likes of Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, but their shooting did not transform into something everyone wanted to do. And that's partly because other players were getting the job done with other skills. But Curry, he paired that shooting with a level of winning, efficiency, and longevity that no point guard has ever put together. He became the engine of a dynasty on its way to 4 NBA championships. He also got 2 MVP awards and a Finals MVP. Then, add to that having the highest career free throw percentage in NBA history at over 91%. Those accomplishments are impressive individually, but together they become so unique, especially for a point guard. Traditionally, point guards have always been measured by assists first. Magic Johnson, John Stockton, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, these guys were celebrated for organizing an offense and making everyone around them better. Curry certainly does that, but he also becomes one of the greatest scorers the position has ever seen. And more remarkably, he's done it without sacrificing efficiency. Even after more than 16 NBA seasons, Curry continues to score at an elite level. At 37 years old, he was still averaging over 26 points per game while shooting nearly 40% from 3 on more than 11 attempts a night. Most stars eventually adapt by taking easier shots, but Curry never stopped taking the hardest ones. and then he took taking the hardest shots to the biggest stage in the Olympics.
LeBron to Curry to quieten things down. Of course, Steph Curry with the three.
With Team USA fighting to secure the gold medal against France, Curry delivered one of the most unforgettable shooting displays international basketball has ever seen. He buried the game with an unbelievable flurry in the closing minutes that silenced the home crowd and put the game out of reach.
He showed on the highest level he's clutch. Those last 4 shots were pressure shots because if he misses them, it's a different game. People are gonna remember this moment in Steph's career more than probably any shot he's taken.
By the time Paris was over, Steph Curry had completed basketball. But what would you say is his greatest accomplishment? Olympic gold? Unanimous MVP? Recording over 400 threes in a season? Well, how about something you cannot measure with statistics? You see, some players leave behind championships, while others leave behind records. Very few leave behind an entirely different version of the sport. Before Steph Curry, point guards were expected to control the game through passing. They orchestrated the offense, set up teammates, and occasionally took over as scorers when the moment demanded it. Curry flipped the script on its head completely. Steve Kerr gave his take on this during an interview.
I think his unique style, he's an artist, really. He brought a completely different mindset to the game, to shooting. But I think his authenticity, his joy, his perspective, his humility, his audacity, the combination of all that is so unique. I've never seen anybody like him, and I think that will live on.
Instead of stretching defenses with passes, he stretched them with his shooting. Defenders suddenly had to pick him up from 30 feet from the basket, creating space that had never existed before. Entire defensive systems were redesigned simply to slow him down. Soon, the rest of the league followed. Teams prioritized spacing more than ever before. Big men learned to shoot from deep. Young players began practicing pull-up threes long before they mastered mid-range jumpers. Every franchise started searching for the next player who could bend defenses the way Curry did. Soon, it became clear that the NBA was a copycat league and Curry was the one everyone was copying.
Steph was a gift and a curse to this game because everyone, although Steph did it, everyone thinks they could do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he changed the complete, not even just the NBA, the way basketball is played, period now.
Matt Barnes came from a time when the mid-range shot was everything. But during the tail end of his career, he experienced the Curry transformation firsthand. But even today, he doesn't know what to make of it. How can one man change so much about a game that's older than him? And why work so hard to be that good? The answer is legacy, and no one can explain what that means better than Steph Curry himself.
To me, I feel like legacy is more, is one, like if you watch me play that you felt some certain type of way, you felt inspired, you felt like you had you were entertained, you were able to create memories and know where you were when a certain game, a certain shot, a certain championship, whatever happened, like you remember where it was.
That's what separates Steph from almost every all-time great. People don't just remember what he accomplished, they remember exactly where they were when he did it. Steph Curry's legacy isn't one built on one record, one championship, or even one unforgettable season. It's built on a collection of accomplishments that no point guard has ever brought together. Normally, point guards control how their team plays. But Steph is the only point guard who controlled how the game of basketball is being played. That's why he's the first player to reach 4,000 career three-pointers, the only unanimous MVP in NBA history, the leader of a 4-time championship dynasty, and years after transforming basketball, he delivered an iconic. No point guard has ever done all this, and it's unlikely it will ever happen again. And if you want to hear NBA players discuss Steph's Olympic run, watch what NBA players say about Steph Curry's first Olympics being better than MJ's final shot next.